Welcome. My name is Solange Harriott, and I'm a doctoral student in the Law and Policy program at Northeastern University. Today I'll be talking to you about my qualitative pilot study on overcoming barriers for services for human trafficking victims in Georgia. First, I'd like to discuss what is human trafficking. As defined by the United Nations, it is the recruitment, transportation, or transfer of persons by means of threat, force, fraud, or coercion. It is a criminal activity in which human beings are treated as possessions to be controlled and exploited for financial gain, as by being forced into prostitution or involuntary labor. Human trafficking is the world's fastest growing global crime. According to USAID statistics, human trafficking generates about $32 billion every year. Also, there are about 27 million victims of human trafficking across the world. 1.2 million children are trafficked every year. 600,000 to 800,000 men, women, and children are trafficked across international borders each year. Approximately 17,000 foreign nationals are trafficked into the US every year. My research questions are: what do survivors of human trafficking experience in common? How do origins, culture, and background influence human trafficking? What are the causes of human trafficking? Is there a need for additional or revised policies or better enforcement? What services and resources are needed to assist human trafficking victims? For my pilot study, I collected phenomenological data using semi-structured interviews. I did a phone interview with one survivor. This interview was not recorded. And I did a face-to-face interview with an administrative employee at a nonprofit organization. This interview was recorded. This employee has direct contact with the victims that come into this program. I transcribed and coded the data. From the data that I collected, I devised thematic codes. The themes mainly entail the fear that victims experience when they try to get assistance, as well as the barriers that they face and the barriers that the agencies face in trying to provide them with services. In my preliminary findings from the codes, the themes that I found were that the victims face barriers in accessing, and receiving assistance because some programs have specific requirements. Also, the victims do not seek help because they fear the stigma and they are not aware of assistance that is available. They also become victims at a young age, therefore they do not have the job skills to stay employed in the workforce. This is one theme that when I found this theme, it was a surprising theme because I did not realize that the victims would need so much assistance in order for them to be able to get into the workforce and stay in the workforce. So this was a theme that was new to me and something that I did not go into my pilot study expecting to learn. Individuals also become victims because of familial situations, poverty, desperation, survival mode, lack of support, or are influenced at a vulnerable point. My last theme is that the nonprofit agency's major barrier to providing assistance to victims was funding. Based on my research, I would like my future research to focus on larger nonprofit agencies, religious organizations, and state and federal agencies. And I would like to revise my interview questions to specifically address barriers, since barriers was the major theme that I encountered during this pilot study. I would also like to broaden the research to include different metropolitan areas in Georgia so that I would see if some of the things that I encountered, if they will be common or if they were specific to that particular area where I did my interviews. Thank you for watching. Feel free to contact me if you have any questions.